folks, allow me to introduce you to the wonderful Maggie Maier. She is she speaks at virtual summits, corporate events, including Bell's Let's Talk events. She is the creator of the 3 R's roadmap to peak performance. This is where she helps energy, focus, and motivation to become the ultimate productivity ninja. I wouldn't do parkour yet, but this will get you energy wise in the inside. So what she does, she helps you overcome challenges, including circumstances in your life. She's also experienced a circumstance within her own life by the passing of her son of recently. And she loves to loves riding bikes, watching documentaries. She also has this little wee guy in her life. His name is Max. He's a wonderful little Shih Tzu. He thinks he's a Rottweiler. And so, what she does for a part of her business, she provides hair and mineral testing, detoxification from toxic chemicals, Chinese massage, emotional freedom techniques, and the ultimate productivity ninja coaching program. She also is, and this is a really interesting piece about her, and from knowing her, she's been to Nicaragua as a freelance writer during the Contra War. Now, I can't imagine that being a holiday retreat. However, that said, and she did that while she was attending University of Windsor. Maggie, over to you.
Oh, great. Okay. Well, it's so awesome to be here, and I love seeing all your smiley faces on our virtual presentation. And I'm really grateful. Thank you for your time today. And so, really, my goal today is I want you to reach your goals. And as we were just talking, I'm sure that you have goals for next year, right? For 2021. This has been a very challenging year on so many levels for so many people. And I want you to have the most energy, the most like an awesome memory, the most emotional balance, because all of that equals peak performance, which then equals productivity. So that's my goal for you today is I'm going to be talking about 3 specific strategies to get you to become the ultimate productivity ninja. So I'm just going to share my screen right now. Okay. All right, so just a little bit about me. I grew up in a very with a challenging childhood, a lot of mental health issues in the family, alcoholism, etc. And like many people, didn't know how to cope, hadn't been given any training on mental health, and so I decided to drink to numb myself and deal with my unresolved trauma. And speaking of alcoholism now, we're seeing, especially since COVID this past year, a 15% increase in substance abuse, particularly alcohol and cannabis. But I think what's particularly concerning to me is this group of 18 to 44-year-olds who've actually increased their alcohol consumption by about 23%. So I one day woke up myself after many years of drinking, the functional alcoholic, and realized there's got to be a better way. I was physically not well, mentally and emotionally I wasn't well. I was just getting worse, and I wasn't attracting, the goals, or I wasn't achieving the goals that I really wanted to. So I had to make that shift. So in the last 20 years, I've literally been obsessed with learning about the brain, the body, and the mindset. And again, that's all peak performance for me. And I've become particularly fascinated with this whole world of toxic chemicals and mineral imbalances. And so what I've discovered is that we all experience, some degree of anxiety or depression. And I mean, we've really gone through a lot this year. I know some people, their businesses are doing well, they've pivoted well. Others, are struggling. I talk to people, some are losing their homes, some are going bankrupt, some have had to lay off their employees. So there's been a lot of shifting, and all of this really creates a lot of wear and tear on your body. So today I want to look at 3 strategies to get you more energy, more focus, more motivation, so you can be truly productive. So just out of curiosity, if I could show you a few ways to perform at your very best, how many would be interested in learning about that? You can put your hand up, or you can say yes in the chat box, whatever you'd like. So you interested? Everybody interested? Okay. All right, so success means different things to different people. You know, some people, we want to be the best entrepreneur, the best business owner. Other people want to be the best mom, the best dad, or maybe someone's, going to participate in a marathon. So today I'm actually here to share with you some of my greatest breakthrough insights that I found in all these decades of studying to really share with you. And then I do offer a program for those of you who actually want to achieve, a higher level of performance. If you want to be at a higher level of performance, then I can give you the details at the end of this talk. So we're going to talk about 4 energy traps today. So the first one is called the drag trap. So maybe some of you can relate to this. This is when you're in the drag trap, when you're physically exhausted, you don't have a lot of energy, you have all these big dreams and lots of to-dos, but you just don't have the physical energy. So remember that, that's the drag trap. The second trap is what I call the emotional roller coaster trap. You know you're in this trap when you're really up and down. You know, one day you're really happy, you're really up, you're really motivated, and you're productive. But then the next day you're dragging, you're depressed, you're down, and you're totally unmotivated, so you're not productive. The third one is what I call the endless negativity chatter trap. Now, everybody has some degree of that negative mindset going on, but some people, have it really badly. If you have anxiety or depression, this can just be really, really nonstop. And so you're in this trap when you're saying negative things like, I can't achieve my goals, I'm never going to get to where I want to be, or I'm never going to feel any better, or I'm never going to have the energy, and on it goes. And you're in this trap when you feel very powerless, overwhelmed, and you're definitely underachieving. And then finally, this is the last trap. This is called the withdrawal trap. Now, many of us often when we're stressed, we want to take the edge off. We'll have a drink or we'll eat some food or what have you. But what happens is when you're in the withdrawal trap, you can't cope anymore with your negative feelings and you start moving further and further away, from your family, from your friends, from recreational activities. Before you know it, maybe you used to like a couple of cookies. Now you're eating half a bag to a bag. This can involve, compulsive sex, gambling, shopping, anything to distract you, even the phone. A lot of people find the phone just a way of trying to chill after a very long, stressful day. But we can then eventually move over into the field of addiction, which then, makes things a lot worse. So let me ask you, we're going to do a poll right now. How many of you can identify with one or two of these traps? Would you like to just put in there which one you identify with? Okay, interesting. So we already see that 33% drag trap, 33% emotional, and the endless chatter trap. So no one in the withdrawal trap. Okay, that's good to know. Okay, so really what you want instead is you want to feel motivated. You want to be emotionally balanced. You want awesome memory. You want to make more money. And you want to be productive. So the question then is, we've looked at these problems. Okay, what's the solution now? So I've come up with something called the 3 R's roadmap to productivity. So remember these 3 things, the 3 R's. 1, remove. The second is rebalance. The third is reframe. The first one is remove. So maybe a lot of you don't know this, or maybe some of you do, but every day, we're putting body products on, we're dealing with, shampoos, toothpaste, underarm deodorant, and all of these actually have a lot of dangerous chemicals in them. So every day you're actually ingesting or putting chemicals on your body, or maybe you're an artist and there's chemicals in your products. And there is so many chemicals right now in tap water. CBC just did a program on the amount of lead, for example, in our drinking water. And that really does affect your immune system. And that's very important, especially with what's going on today. So I'm going to give you just a little bit backstory. So I was working with the Laboratory Centre for Disease Control and Health Canada, and then I also worked in the Canadian military. And I got really, really involved in the impact of toxic chemicals on the body, how it affects your energy, how it affects your mood. And I ended up moving to another city, and I'm sure you can relate to this. Some of you maybe have moved to a new city or started a new job, and it's stressful. Maybe you're not feeling so good. Maybe your energy's not that great. And I just, went to the doctor, and I got really shocking news that I had, like, the C word. I had cancer. And so I decided not to do any chemo or radiation or surgically remove my thyroid. And I ended up choosing to do what's called the hair and mineral test. The hair and mineral test will give you 4 to 6 months of information about your entire body, and it will tell you exactly what amount of toxic chemicals are actually in your body. And I followed the whole protocol, and in 6 months, I was cancer-free. No chemo, no radiation, no surgery. So what I'm trying to really teach here is that a lot of us have basic symptoms. Maybe we're not feeling that great. Maybe we don't have as much energy, or maybe you're dealing with some of these. So take a look at this. And, there's hormonal issues, there's insomnia, there's fatigue, joint pain. We always have these words for things like I have arthritis, or I have this, or I have that, but we don't really get into the root cause of exactly why you're not feeling as well as you possibly could. And most of us, every person I've tested, including children, have toxic chemicals in your body, even if you don't feel the symptoms today. So this is a little girl, she's only 6 years old, just to give you an example of just how many toxic chemicals. So I don't know if you have children or grandchildren, but this is what's happening now with our children. And this young girl had ADHD. This is just a picture, but one of my clients was 6, and we did a whole protocol with her, and it really helped her calm down, get more focus. It really shifted because we ended up removing the toxic chemicals, all of them, from her body. This is another person with cancer. Just as you're getting older, you end up collecting more and more toxic chemicals through your system. And this is a woman in her 40s, and look at lead, mercury, cadmium, arsenic, and aluminum. And aluminum is really important, ladies, especially at the age of 60, 65, more women are being diagnosed with Alzheimer's than ever before. And there is a correlation with aluminum, and it takes longer to get out of your brain. So it's really important to find out if you have it and exactly how much, so we can get that down. Now, I'm flipping a little bit. I'm sure some of you recognize Dr. Wayne Dyer. He's written a ton of books. He's very well known, self-help, spiritual author, motivational speaker. And I remember I really looked up to him. He's been my idol for a long time. And I'm sure you've heard of his book, Your Erroneous Zones. And it still is one of the best-selling books of all time, with over 100 million copies to date. So you're probably asking yourself, why am I showing you this? Well, Dr. Dyer is, he was really took care of himself and was very healthy, but he became my client and we worked together. And he was really shocked to see how many toxic chemicals and mineral imbalances he had in his body. And also the whole correlation between toxic chemicals, mineral imbalances, and mental health. And like he said, who knew? So the second thing we're going to talk about this on the roadmap to productivity is rebalancing. So what does rebalancing mean? Now we're going to talk about minerals. I don't have a lot of time to tell you what all your minerals do, but I'm just going to teach you a couple of things. I don't know if you know of anyone, or if you're struggling with insomnia, when you have mind racing, you can't focus, you're really hyper, you can actually just have an imbalance in your minerals, and your sodium and your potassium level just might be too high. It may be as simple as that. And look at the symptoms here. So individuals with anxiety, irritability, or insomnia, it's just a high sodium potassium. And if you just balance it, you actually calm yourself down. Now, I'm sure you've heard of other people, when you have low sodium potassium, here are some of the symptoms: fatigue, depression, and weight gain. A lot of people say, oh, I'm just getting older and I'm getting this and I'm getting that. And they're assuming it's due to aging, when in fact, it's not. It's due to chemicals and unbalanced minerals. So I'm sure some of you may recognize this gentleman in Ottawa. He's one of my clients, and he came in, he was a vegetarian, he didn't have enough phosphorus, and he really lacked energy, and he really wanted to take his business to the next level. So as you can see here, his energy's through the roof. He's managing more clients. Pre-COVID, he was doing international travel, sleeping better, lost weight, and he and his partner now have the #1 business in their industry in Canada, and that is productivity. So the last one I wanted to share with you is Some of you may be dealing with anxiety and depression, or you may have children or grandchildren, or you may be working with people that are, and I want you to really remember this, okay? The copper zinc ratio is really, really important, and it really is close to home, and you'll figure this out in a minute. This is my beautiful son, Adam. Adam struggled with mental health issues for a very long time. He became very focused on only dealing with it in the medical community with prescription medication. And I noticed, especially in his teens, he was getting worse. I've seen research now, if young people are on medications, they end up switching, like if they're on antidepressants, they actually tend to become more manic, more bipolar. And my son definitely wasn't getting better, but he, in his mind, thought he was, he was managing it. Now, my son ended up dying by suicide 3 years ago, and it wasn't so much because of the mental illness per se. He did smoke marijuana. He ended up getting brain damage from that marijuana because the THC is so high. And so if you have grandchildren, please let them know. And this is really important because people with mental illness tend to, they tend to want to smoke pot to calm down, or they want to drink, but especially with regards right now to smoking pot, the THC, just smoking it once can actually damage your brain. You can get schizophrenia. My son got psychosis. He ended up getting such severe pain in his body, like sulfuric burning acid, that he literally took his life because of the pain. And so I have a lot of passion for this because I don't want other people to suffer needlessly. It's taken me decades to put all this information together, and that's why I'm sharing it with you today, because you no longer have to suffer. So when someone has unbalanced copper, we're finding, people diagnosed with bipolar, depression. Remember we talked about the emotional roller coaster trap? That can just be as simply an unbalanced copper zinc ratio. Women have estrogen. Estrogen tends to push up the copper ratio. Even early graying of hair and even anger can be due to that. So the third part of the productivity, of course, is now the reframe. Reframe has to do with your mindset. And I have a lot of different techniques that I use with my clients. And everyone, it doesn't matter how successful you are, everyone has some degree of fear or a negative belief or a limiting belief or a bad habit that they want to overcome. Otherwise, it just self-sabotages you and you don't reach your goals. And again, that's what you want. You want to achieve all your goals, and you want to have this mindset, excuse me, that no matter what, you can overcome. And Margaret was just talking earlier in the session, that the darkness gets to her, it affects her. And so we could actually do a mindset shift so that it wouldn't matter what time of day it is or how dark it is outside, you can still stay motivated. And just to give you an idea, I worked with two young sisters, and here's one of them. She was in her late 20s, and she was an alcoholic. She was a binge drinker. She could not stop drinking to save her life. And she really lacked a lot of self-esteem, purpose, confidence. She was really living in a crappy part of town. She was on welfare. She didn't have a job. I worked with her for 6 months, okay? And she's permanently stopped her binge drinking. She's got secure employment, and she's living on her own. And she's now, she's just in her 20s. So imagine the kind of life that this woman could have compared to what it might have been had she not done the work. And then finally, some of you may recognize Daryl. He's a good friend of mine. He's also a client of mine. And he just broke free of some negative beliefs around money. So, a lot of us have money issues from the past. Sometimes we're given conflicting information from our parents. For example, his mom liked to spend money and his dad liked to save. So he had this conflict. So he knew he had to clear that in order to reach, higher financial goals. And today he's doing really well, more confident. And you know what I've noticed too, when you do this whole mindset shift, you naturally start attracting opportunities. You naturally start attracting, clients. It's a lot easier. Even though it's been COVID, I can't believe the opportunities and the things that have come my way because of this whole reframing. And one of the things I really like to encourage and teach people is making your business easier. A lot of people, entrepreneurs, everything is really hard. They got to push, they got to go out and get it, they got to grab it. You can totally reframe it to make life so much easier that these clients are literally coming to you. It is that powerful. So those are the 3 R's to your productivity. Again, remove, rebalance, and reframe. And just a little bit about hair and mineral testing. People often want to know, like, how does this work? Basically, I take your hair, I send it to a lab. I work with a medical professional in the lab who is an expert on, mineral imbalances and toxic chemicals. And you get a huge booklet back. You get a whole customized solution for you. And basically, you can literally rebalance within three months, at least to start, usually 3 to 6 months, depending on what's going on in your life. And that's what it means to you. More rebalance, more strength, more energy, more drive. And so in closing, I just want to suggest that when when you meet with a medical professional or a holistic professional, it's usually about $150, $200, $300 for a session, for a consultation. And so I'm happy to meet with you and have a consultation with you on the phone at absolutely no cost to you. And we can just get on the phone, have a conversation, find out which energy traps you're in, how you'd like to get unstuck. And if it makes sense to you, we could take the next steps to see if, in fact, if you may benefit from a hair test or some other service that I provide. So if you would like to learn more about getting more energy, more focus, more productivity, or you just want to learn more about peak performance, or you're just not feeling as energetic as you'd like, then please reach out to me and we can definitely have that consultation. Thank you.